right, descriptive geometry 2HB. And this one's got some more complicated ones, so I may have to pause, stop, I may have to break it up into different sections, but I want to make sure you get it, and I'm going to try to like zoom in so that you can see as best as I possibly can on this one. So we're going to start off with the simple one. Let's do something easy that makes us feel like we've accomplished something, okay? So I'm going to start off with problem number 1 over here in the upper right hand corner. And all I'm doing again is lining it up with my straight edge. Okay, this one, real hard, I promise. This is, oh, Lord have mercy. Okay. Okay, I'm going to have to flip that around. I'm sorry. Oof, there it goes. I'm going to have to do it from upside down here so you can see it. That's better. Okay. So I'm going to lightly project everything down and or up. Now on this one, this is where my 2 points meet. So where it meets up here is going to be my insertion point. So it's going to meet here, and the point of projection is going this way. So I'll have a visible line here and hidden lines over here. I told you something simple to make you feel a little more accomplished before we start the more complicated ones. And then our hidden lines right there. Okay. All right, now I'm going to fold my paper in half and move it over so we can see, so don't panic. I've got to fold it so it fits into frame so you can see best. All I did was try to remove number 1 so I could have as much room as I can get, so I can try to put this one in here and show you how to draw it. Okay, I think that will be best to fit into frame. All right. So I repeat the process. Find a straight edge, straight line. Tape your paper down so it doesn't shift on you when we start drawing this, because this one is more complicated. A couple of things we have to be able to know and do to be able to get this one. Okay, move this up for right now. And I'm probably going to have to shift this one around some more too. All right, get my brain going on this one again. All right, so we are going to use auxiliary view method to find this one. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go ahead and just lightly connect like we did on the other, those insertion points. And I do mean very lightly connect, draw them in. Now, to get this one, we're actually going to use now this projection point here. This is going to become our straight line, our straight edge that we're going to use to come off of, because we're going to find, if this was, we're going to say that's our X and our Y. We're going to use that as what we're going to use for the auxiliary view, what we're going to project off of. So this is what we're going to use so we can find, because we got to find the crosshairs. We kind of have to find where everything meets. So what we're trying to do is find the true length of that XY. We're trying to find where this true length of XY meet and the true length of the 7865 meet so that we can get this on here. So I've drawn that. Wasn't thinking. I knew I taped it down too soon. Fingers crossed that I can get it in here. Okay, nope. Got to fold the bottom half of my page so it fits in here without messing up. There we go. Come on, get into focus. Eee, focus camera. There it goes, focus, okay. All right. So I've lined that up to get my straight edge. Tape my corners into place. And yeah, I've done it, but it's got a frame. Oh, la 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 la. Sorry. I want to move it down where it's as much in frame as I can get it where y'all can see. Okay, there it goes. Come on, line up. There we go. There we go. Okay. Keep it from moving around as much as I possibly can. All right. So this is now my straight edge, my parallels, but I've lined my line up. And I'm going to draw perpendicular lines. From that. Yep, wrong. Don't want to use a dark one. Just drawing them straight up. And drawing a parallel line through the eye. Remember, this is my eye, so this makes this is the H, the horizontal. All right, so our next step is we need to find some dimensions we need to transfer to over here so that we can do the little crosshatch so we can find where the insertion point is going to be, or where our piercing point is. So step one, we're going to find 6, 5. So 6, 5 down. I'm just taking my divider and finding that 6, 5. And marking it here. And then I need to find 7, 8. How far down is 7, 8? 7, 8. And I already know that that's one of the ones that's a trailing, so I'm going to draw that with my dark in 0.9. Come on, line up. Okay. Now, we want to try to find essentially the points AB where they meet. So if I find out where B is the same as 5, 6, so that's not going to change. So that makes that size a little easy for me. That's not, that's the same size. That's not going to go anywhere, so it's just going to be that same dimension over here. And now let's find how far down A is from that corner. So where does that insertion point come out? A. And you don't have to do this, remember. I just like to do it because it makes it easier for me to see, because looking at those little dots, the older I get, it's easier if I just have some lines to visual to look at. I find it easier. Your young guys probably doesn't bother so much. So now where they meet right here in the middle, that gives me their insertion point. Now what I have to do now is I have to bring a line perpendicular down to here and then measure that to get my H, my height. My divider, find that height, bring that height down to here, little line right there for us to visual, and then I bring that line across. So I've had to come here and I have to find the height, right? I found the height. Come down here and mark it, and then draw the line across, which I've already given you a little hint here. I've already drawn a little part on there just to give you a little hint for this one. So I had marked that. Draw that line right there. Is it coming through? So where that hits here now on this little line, where that line, see that the point, that H, that H is that same H right here. Okay? So this becomes our piercing point. So it comes from this side, coming from the back side, comes through, and then it comes out on in here. So I need to bring that line straight up. I bring it straight up. Now where it hits here, that becomes our other piercing point. And we pay attention. We're looking at the object it's coming through, so it's piercing from here. This is the solid side, and that's the outside side. So I'm following my angle trajectory. Oh, dang it, wrong pencil. Because that's my visible line. Outside, right? Projecting coming through. And then the hidden line parts are right here, and here, and right here, right here, right here. And that didn't come out then. Press a little too hard and come through. Okay, now let's flip this sucker out and let's do the other one. Do number 3. And I gotta do a little folding again to try to get everything in here. So that it can get into frame so you can see what we're doing. Or at least that's my goal. I want to get it as much in frame as I possibly can so you can see. Okay. I do need to line it up with a straight edge for right now. So I'm going to line my center line up as my straight edge and tape it down. And I'm going to do that because there's a couple things I have to do for this one. This one is a little more complicated. If you read through the text provided, how do you find it? Okay, well, first thing we have to do is we have to bring a line from here over to find a horizontal line, and then we have to bring it up. So we're finding a point 3, 4. So I line this up here and bring it over to here. So then outbound becomes 3, 4, and that's the horizontal line for 3, 4. Then I've got to bring where it meets here up. That gives me 4. And now I'll have to connect 3 and 4 together, because that would give the true line for 3, 4. Why do we need to know that? Because we're going to use this line now. We're going to draw perpendicular off of it. So we're going to use that, and we're going to draw our line perpendicular off of it. All right? I'm going to lift my paper up and line it up to that, since I know that's my point of reference that I'm going to be drawing from. So that's now going to become my straight line, my straight edge. Try to get it into frame as much as I possibly can. I'm trying. There we go. Sure you don't move it. Okay. So I am now going to have a perpendicular line that goes through O right here, there, and I'm going to have the same for the O here. And now I'm going to project my lines over. So I'm going to project 1 over, 3 over, actually that one got a little off, and 2 over. And these lines are going to be parallel, so they're going to be parallel here too. All right, so this is my point. Now we're going to transfer measurements again, just like we normally would when we were trying to find different auxiliary views. Like I said, on this one we had to know, and you have to know a couple of things mathematically, and sometimes I'm not always 100% why. I just know I trust the process because it works. Monge was a much smarter man than me, so I know enough that I'm going to follow his lead because he did the math and he figured all this out. I had to find that horizontal line. I had to bring that line up to here, so I had to find that 3, 4 to give me the true length. Once I got that true length, that became my line that I'm referencing to, and then I'm going to draw off of, and I'm going to have a perpendicular line too. Once I get that perpendicular line here, I'm going to have the same running parallel line here, same running parallel line, all to that one that I had to find from finding that horizontal line and bring it over. I had to do that to be able to do the rest of this. Otherwise, it just will not work. Okay, we're going to transfer some measurements. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to find A. A is our distance from the fold line here to the top to the number 2. And I'm going to measure and mark that on right here. So that's going to give me number 2. That's distance A. I don't know if that'll help you any. I'm just labeling them, trying to help it out so that maybe it'll work for you. All right, the next one we need to find, we need to find the dimension C. C is for 1 over because that gives me number 1. So this would be dimension C. So from here to here, that's our C. And again, you don't have to draw these lines. I just remember my old age, I like to see them. They help. 0.9 here to here. This is 1. Right here would be 3. That's where it meets. Right here is 2. All right, let's find our next measurement here. Okay, next one, oops, sorry, moved it around. Our next measurement we want to find is going to be D and essentially what I call E. What that is that's from here, where it meets here on that point. See where the projection line comes out? That distance there. So we're wanting to find E. Oh, sorry, that would be D. We want to find D. So I've found what D is, and I'm going to transfer D to over here. And it's not much, right? So there's D. Now we're going to find E. E is where this one, where it meets here on this side. So E is from here to here. That's our measurement we're looking for. And now let's measurement E. And again, just because I like them, it makes it easier for me to see things. So there's my piercing point. And to find that, I need to find I need to know what my height is. I need to know how tall is it. So find that height. See, I find the height. Come over here. That's height. Shift it around because I want to get a nice straight line, so I have to line it up to get a straight line again. straight line, tape it down, find my height, bring that over, because what that has done is once I have that height in this line here they meet, that's the insertion point. That tells me that's where the insertion point is. And since I know that's where the insertion point is there, I can now take the piercing point, that insertion point where the bullet's coming through, etc. And draw it up to there. Is it lined up? Okay, yeah. That tells me I have an insertion or piercing point right about there. Then, same thing. Look at it, try to figure out what it's going to be. This is coming from here out. So I have a nice dark visible line here and here on the outside. You can even add the arrow if it helps you. And your hidden lines are right here because that's the back part of it what comes through. Same thing up here. So this is our angle of trajectory. So it's coming to the back of it, and then it comes from here and it comes out. And then here are my hidden lines, the parts that I can't see, but I need to know that it's there. All right. Congratulations, you can do this.